What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer. Today, I want to talk about something that I touched on during my 26-man roster video, and that's the final 3 spots of this World Cup squad. Because typically, when you put together a team for a major tournament, you have 23 spots, and those are 3 for goalkeepers, and then 20 for outfield players. You have 10 outfield players at a time, so ideally, you'd have 10 starters and 10 backups at every single position. But this year, we've got an extra 3 spots. And with that, there's a lot of things that we can do with it. And I think there are like 3 V's that I've got an idea for. And that's to bring in veterans, have some versatility, or bring in wunderkids. It's a bit of a reach, but hey, stick with the V thing for today. For the first V, our veterans, I think it's an easy idea to get behind. Bring in players who have been at the World Cup before, who can help our young players adapt to this new environment and help them succeed. I'm thinking about players like John Brooks, who even if he was washed and he wasn't good enough for the team, which he is good enough for the team, but even if he wasn't, he's been here before. He's been a young player who's had to come to the World Cup and make an impact, and I think that experience would really help our team. Same with DeAndre Yedlin. I think there's an argument to be made that quality-wise, you'd want to bring in a different fullback over him, but I think just his experience that he brings to the squad, I'd want him there if we want to really take this World Cup seriously and succeed. There's an argument to be made for Tim Ream as well. I personally wouldn't have him in the roster quality-wise, but he's somebody who has, even though he didn't play at a World Cup before, he's been there at the highest level for a long time. Being that the Premier League, he has a very good record in the Championship, and that experience could help the team adapt to a new environment. I honestly would consider bringing in Brad Guzan if he was healthy. I think that experience would really help our young players adapt to this tournament. And I think that is pretty crucial because at the moment, looking at the World Cup, this is a very good chance to make something happen. We have a group that is not bad at all. I mean, England's England, but Wales, they're not exactly an intimidating team. Iran, they're going to be tough to beat, but we could have had a lot worse of a group. And then the team above us, Group A, I'm going to be worried if we face Netherlands or Senegal, but that's not an impossible matchup. And once we get to the quarterfinals, anything is possible. And I think we have to keep in mind that this team is very injury prone. We don't know what 2026 will be like. And on top of that, that World Cup's probably going to have 48 teams instead of 32. There's a very good chance that this is a real opportunity to make something happen at this World Cup. And I think we should consider make the team as strong as possible, having as many veterans there to make sure we can do our best and, try to win that thing. I mean, it's very unlikely, but this is a real opportunity. We might have a ton of injuries come 2026, and I don't think we should let this opportunity, this World Cup, go to waste. Second V, versatility. I think this is very important if we really want to win the World Cup as well. And that's having the ability to cover for a ton of positions that might be weak at the moment. I look at our left back situation, and maybe we'd want to bring in somebody who can do a bit more of a job. So I mentioned Tim Ream before. We've seen him play an emergency left back. It's not pretty, but he's a left-footed player who can do a job. We've seen James Sands be able to play center back and cover in the midfield. And if Tyler Adams gets hurt, I'd rather have a player like James Sands come in who is good on the ball rather than putting in Kellen Acosta as a starter. And I think that positional versatility could really help us if, bad things happen, we end up getting hurt. But at the same time, I feel like if we are going through these injuries, our squad is so thin that you would probably just be in trouble no matter what. So I don't think we should really waste a spot on the versatility, because if we have to put our backups in, we're going to be in trouble no matter what. But that being said, it could still be a good idea to bring in the James Sands to help cover for defensive mid. We might have to rotate, or we might just want to rotate during the group stage if things go perfectly. And I think it's a decent idea to have, but I don't think it's as important as having the veterans in the team. Lastly, you've got our Wunderkids, are really good prospects who can definitely help us out in 2026. And the idea behind that is that we have a much more realistic chance to win a World Cup in 2026. We're going to be hosting it. All of our players will be entering their primes rather than being really young guys Pulisic will be a veteran. We'll have Gio Reyna having a ton more experience. Yunus Musa. Everybody on the squad will be a lot better. And if we really want to take that World Cup seriously, maybe we should get as many players as possible experience right now. So we could bring in a Malik Tillman. He's somebody who I think probably deserves to be in the squad on his quality alone. But when you factor in that 2026 is important, definitely want to bring him in. Ricardo Pepi as well. I think there's probably an argument to be made that he shouldn't be there and that we have a bunch of strikers who are more likely to score at the World Cup. But come 2026, he's going to be dangerous. All right, Jonathan Gomez. He looks like a very good prospect at left back, and tying him to the national team would be a very big deal. And honestly, I don't think we're losing that much quality if we have him in as our fourth fullback instead of DeAndre Yedlin. Then somebody like a Gianluca Busio could really help the team in the future. And I think that there's a real argument to be made that if we want to take this 2026 World Cup as seriously as we can, and if we really want to win it, we should just bring some young players now and get them the experience we need. Because I'm looking at this current squad, and we're not going to win with Berhalter. I mean, it is what it is. And maybe we should just prepare for the future. I don't know, just something to keep your mind on. But we've actually got a fourth V, and that's Greg Berhalter's and him bringing in his players for vibes. I'm talking Christian Roldan and Paul Arriola, Aaron Long, and I'm just looking at this team, and I'll be honest, I can't see any of these guys I talked about being brought in. Tim Ream, John Brooks, they're going to be left off. Can't see us bringing in Gianluca Busio or Jonathan Gomez, though there's an argument that they shouldn't be brought in. Probably going to leave James Sands at home, and just to bring in Christian Roldan and Paul Arriola and mediocre MLS players who don't have a present and definitely don't have a future with this team. And honestly, it's kind of tough to get excited for this World Cup because of the coach and because of the roster selections that we know will happen. And honestly, when I look at the team, I think we just have to get all of our best players in form, and maybe individual talent will be able to carry us through to the knockout round, because it's certainly not going to be our man management. And honestly, there's just how I'm feeling with the team at the moment. Like, it's kind of pointless to talk about stuff like this because Berhalter is going to bring in his guys. So, yeah, I'm really excited to talk about the Premier League over the next few days. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more previews of the World Cup for different teams. Probably going to start with Group A because that's who we're going to be facing if we make the knockout round, but we're going to go in a random order after that. Don't want to go A through H, I think. So, yeah, it's something to think about with bringing veterans, versatility, or just top prospects, but it's just something to think about. It's probably not going to end up meaning anything at the moment, which sounds nihilistic, but we still have individual talent, and we can still make something happen at this tournament. It's just harder to get excited about it. And yeah, that's all I talk about right now. Hopefully I'm wrong and things turn around really quickly. I'd love it if Greg Berhalter goes out and out-coaches Gareth Southgate, but hey, that's what it is. That's all I'll talk about right now. See ya.